Peace, family. It's your brother, Marc Lamont Hill. Thank you for watching the Marc Lamont Hill official YouTube channel. We are here, as always, a little early today, though, talking about many issues going on in the world. One of those issues is Israel's war on Gaza. So I wanted to do the Israel war on Gaza update a little bit earlier today so that some of y'all can catch it live. I'm down in DC. I'm at the Al Jazeera Bureau, about to conduct some interviews and do some other work that I think y'all are going to want to see later this week on Friday. In fact, make sure you watch me on Al Jazeera Upfront. New episodes appear on YouTube in the morning and they appear on television in the evening. Make sure you check it all out. Of course, I want to shout out some of our family here, particularly the Marc Lamont Hill official channel subscribers. So shout out to you, Iran wa alaikum assalam. Shout out to you, Uprising Consulting. Shout out to you, Bullet the Bunny, as always. I know these are sad days. My God. Rosability, shouts to you as always. Meg, I haven't seen you before. Meg L from Ohio. Allison Barber coming through. Miriam Mangera coming through, or Mangera coming through from Joburg. Stephanie Marquez from Strong Island. My brother Corey, shouting him out, of course, as always. He's always in the building. Y'all, I appreciate y'all. I love y'all. Makeda, thank you so much for dropping in, and thank you so much for supporting the channel. Salute to everyone who has joined the channel and become a subscriber to the Marc Lamont Hill official YouTube channel. I appreciate y'all. I love y'all. We're going to get started right now because today, sadly, is day 145 of Israel's war on Gaza. Again, day 140. This is a stunning number. Shout out to you, Ty Hamer from North Carolina. And as always, we want to give you the latest updates, the latest information, the latest developments, the latest numbers, so that you can fully understand what's going on the ground in a way that corporate media will often not allow you to understand or to have. We're going to start with these devastating numbers. As of this morning, at least 29,954 Palestinians have been killed and 70,325 have been wounded in Israeli attacks on Gaza since October 7th. 30,000 people killed, 70,000 wounded are rough estimates. 1% of the child population in Gaza has been killed. A mother is killed every 2 hours in Gaza right now. The numbers that we're looking at, the conditions that we're looking at are unthinkable. They're unlivable. They are absurd. And we have to be mindful of what's happening on the ground so that we can deal with it. I've told you a little bit about the numbers, but let's look at the context of those numbers. Let's look at what this genocide looks like in real life, just to give you some context. Right now in Gaza, the entire Gaza Strip, we are seeing bombing. We are seeing the besieging of the entire Strip. And whereas before it was just death, it was just gunfire, it was just bombs, it was just bullets. Now we're looking at dehydration and starvation. People are being denied access to food. People are being denied access to water. And this isn't that people are starving, as I said yesterday. This is that people are being starved. And that is a very, 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 very different thing. The Israeli forces are intentionally obstructing access to the most basic of humanitarian needs at the same time that people are being killed. Since yesterday, according to the Gaza Ministry of Health, 96 people were killed and 172 people have been wounded. 96 killed, 172 wounded just in the last 24 hours. More people are under the rubble. According to the Palestine Red Crescent Society, and they released footage of this, their ambulance teams are searching for survivors after there was yet another air attack in Deir el-Belah in central Gaza. In Deir el-Belah, there is an Israeli strike that resulted in men, women, and children being under the rubble. But I was just talking about the starvation, talking about the deprivation, because it's one thing, even in war, you can sort of say, okay, well, sometimes people get hit, sometimes there's collateral damage, although Israel has done nothing to minimize collateral damage. They've done nothing to minimize casualties. They've done nothing to be discriminate in their strikes. But all of that aside, because we've been talking about that and we'll continue to talk about that. Yesterday, a 2-year-old baby, a 2-year-old Palestinian child, his name is Khalid. Khalid died after eating bread that was made from the animal feed. The stuff that they feed the animals, they had to make into a bread to try to nourish the babies. Young Khalid died. Young Khalid died eating animal feed. This is preventable. According to the UN Population Fund, there's a hospital, maternity hospital in Gaza. It's right in Rafah. It's in the southern. Rafah is in the southern part of the country. It's right near the border. And Al Hilal Al Emirati, a maternity hospital, it's called. They're reporting from the hospital that newborn babies, not just 2-year-olds, not just toddlers like Khalid, but like newborn babies are dying simply because they can't get prenatal care and they can't get postnatal care. Because the hospitals are all being bombed, because the hospitals are always being besieged, because the hospitals are always being obstructed, because the hospitals are always being blocked, because you have doctors or people dressed as doctors pulling out guns and shooting people, because you have people being shot in their beds, unconscious sometimes, because you have all of these violations of law, because hospitals are not being kept in their protected status, because all of this is happening. It is impossible to get proper medical care in Gaza right now, because they besiege the entire compound, the entire front area, the entire inside, and sometimes the entire back area. What ends up happening is sick people can't get out. I'm sorry, sick people can't get in, and well people can't get out. Sick people can't enter the hospital, and so they're dying. And then when you get to these triage matters, right, where you say, all right, well, somebody just got shot, let's get them to the hospital. Somebody's about to lose their leg, let's get them to the hospital. And making those kind of split-second decisions, there are people, particularly mothers, who simply can't get to the doctor for a prenatal checkup, or they can't get to the doctor or the hospital or clinic for a postnatal checkup. This is the reality of Gaza right now. This is the reality of Gaza right now. And because a lot of that is happening in Rafah, we're seeing even more concern, because Rafah is a city that should have like 200,000 people in it, maybe 250. At its most dense, it usually has about 250, 260 in it, give or take. Right now in Gaza, there's somewhere between 1.4 and 1.5 million people there. So they're trapped. It's dense. They have nowhere to go. This is the problem. This is the problem. Now, here in the United States, President Biden has said, again, yesterday, he was eating that stupid ice cream cone, and he said, well, it's going to end soon. I'm confident. He said, my NSA director says it should be by the end of the week, maybe the end of the weekend, after the weekend. So we're sitting here thinking, well, Biden wouldn't say that he wants a ceasefire, and he's expecting a ceasefire unless he knew something that we didn't, because he's so lockstep with Israel that if he's saying that, it's because this is part of the political strategy. Well, it's by the end of yesterday, both Israel and Hamas were like, We don't know. There's no imminent resolution. There's no breakthrough in our talks. There's no reason to believe that there's going to be a ceasefire. Now, according to Joe Biden, Israel said that they would pause the ground offensive in Rafah during Shahr Ramadan, during the month of Ramadan, in exchange for the release of some captives. It's like, okay, cool, that makes sense. Fighting Hamas during Ramadan seems problematic for a million reasons. But again, Hamas is saying that's not likely, and Israel's saying that's not likely. So I don't know where this is coming from. I don't know if Joe Biden is asleep at the wheel. I don't know if Joe Biden is putting out bad information, or if Joe Biden is putting out good information and other people are simply denying it. Now, also, because we've been talking a lot about the conditions on the ground, but let's talk about what creates those conditions. The UN is trying to deliver food. They're trying to deliver medical supplies. They're trying to deliver other forms of support. And they can't. And the reason is because they don't have a safe corridor in. Egypt, Jordan, UAE, Qatar, France. They've all tried to deal with that by airdropping stuff in yesterday. But we're going to need more airdrops. But we're also, more importantly, going to need less obstruction. We're going to need fewer pathways blocked to getting these trucks in. In southern Gaza at a beach, boxes of supplies dropped from military aircrafts on parachutes. And then you see hundreds, if not thousands of Palestinians running to the box, running to the case, running to the caravan, running to the truck, whatever sources, running to the parachuted supply boxes, whatever it is. You see them diving on it almost. Why? Because they don't have food. They don't have money. They don't have resources. And then at that same time, you hear President Biden saying that he wants a new bill to give more money to Israel to defend itself. You hear him saying he wants this bill to also restrict or cut off completely funding to the United Nations Relief Works Agency, UNRWA, meaning that even in the midst of a crisis, in the midst of a genocide, in the midst of a potential famine, the world is still turning the screws against Israel. Excuse me, against Palestine. That kind of situation, that kind of reality is why we have to keep our eyes on the prize, and the prize is justice. It's why we have to keep fighting. It's why we have to keep putting a spotlight on these problems, because it's getting ridiculous. It's only getting more urgent. Anyway, y'all, that's the update for right now. I'll be back later tonight. We're going to talk about the uncommitted vote in Michigan. We're going to talk about some other stuff too. Is the Biden presidency in jeopardy because of Israel and Palestine? We'll tell you, but before we go, I just want to shout y'all out one more time. I want to say thank you to everybody who has come through. I want to thank you to everybody who has donated. Meg L, thank you for gifting 5 MLH channel memberships. Thank you, everybody. Please grab one of the memberships if you can, but if not, make sure you do it. NATO, I like that name. NATO, thank you so much for becoming a channel member. We appreciate it. Mohammed Zagari, thank you, my brother. Thank you for the support. Thank you for the love. Thank you for the affirmation. Samantha Twinning, I appreciate you. She said, I did not grow up in America learning about the sins of slavery and the Holocaust, all to sit back and not use the voice God gave me to speak up. Prayers to all humanity in beautiful Gaza. Thank you, Michigan. Thank you, Dr. Hill. Samantha, that is the spirit that we need to move with. We have the information. We know our history. We know what's at stake. We got to fight and do the right thing, because that's the only thing we should be doing, the right thing. Everybody hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the join button if you're so inclined. Also, you can also donate directly to the channel. Just go to Cash App and you can just drop something in, $MLHTV. That's $MLHTV. No amount is too small. In fact, if everybody right now on this live gave $1, if everybody just gave $1, it'd be enough to edit this video, get it up, clean it up, and help get it out to the world. Just $1. Anyway, family, I appreciate y'all. I love y'all. Shout out to you, Jimmy Oku. I saw this come in at the last second. I appreciate your generosity as well. Thank you to everybody. Shout out to everybody. You're loved, you're appreciated, and we'll talk soon. Peace.